Quick! In the next 3 seconds, name the 3 people you love most in this world. 3, 2, 1. I know for a fact your own name was not on that list. We are conditioned from childhood to believe that putting ourselves first is the height of arrogance or selfishness, so we spend our entire lives filling everyone else's cup, our parents, our partners, our friends, while our own vessel sits cracked and dry at the bottom of the ocean. This is the martyr's trap, a state where you equate your self-worth with your usefulness to others, completely neglecting the one person who has been with you since your first breath. First, we must dissect the anatomy of the martyr's trap. Why did your mind reflexively bypass your own name? It's because you have been infected with a concept called utility-based worth. From a young age, you were rewarded for being good, which usually meant being useful to someone else. You were taught that your value is a currency you earn by solving other people's problems. Over time, your brain stopped seeing you as a human being and started seeing you as a service provider. Psychologically, this creates a dangerous feedback loop. When you serve others at your own expense, you get a temporary hit of moral superiority. You feel like a hero, but this is a hollow victory. In reality, you are not giving out of love. You are giving out of a deep-seated fear of being useless. You are buying safety and belonging with the pieces of your own life. The strategist understands that a martyr is just a person with no boundaries, masquerading as a saint. When you equate your worth with your utility, you give the world a remote control to your happiness. If you aren't serving, you feel worthless. If you aren't sacrificing, you feel guilty. This isn't virtue. It is a psychological glitch that has turned you into a ghost, serving a world that will never be satisfied until there is nothing left of you. To stop the erosion, you must first realize that your existence is not a debt you owe to society. Second, we must confront the mirror truth. Think about the way you speak to yourself when you fail. You allow your inner critic to scream insults and cold judgments that you would never tolerate from a total stranger. Why? Because you have spent so much time being nice to the world that you've turned all your suppressed aggression inward. In psychology, this is known as cognitive abuse. Since you've placed your value in the hands of others, your brain has developed a ruthless, internal executioner to keep you in line. This voice tells you that you are never enough, that your rest is laziness, and that your needs are burdening others. You treat yourself like a defective machine that only deserves maintenance when it breaks down completely. But the strategist knows that you cannot build a kingdom on a foundation of self-hatred. When you speak to yourself with disrespect, you are training the world to do the same. This isn't about spa days or vanity. It's about acknowledging that the internal dialogue you have with yourself is the blueprint for every relationship you will ever have. If you wouldn't say it to a child you love, why are you saying it to the person who has been with you through every trauma and every victory? Third, we must analyze the erosion of identity, or what I call the ghost syndrome. When you spend years running on empty to please the crowd, you eventually become a hollow shell. You become a non-entity in your own story. Have you noticed that you no longer know what you truly want, or what you even like? That's because your identity has been slowly erased by the constant need for validation. You are living as a background character in your own life. You take the crumbs in relationships, you accept disrespect at work, and you wonder why you feel so invisible. It's because you have become a ghost. A ghost has no boundaries. A ghost has no voice. This chronic self-neglect leads to a dangerous state of burnout resentment. You start to hate the very people you were trying to please, not because they are evil, but because you gave them parts of yourself that were never for sale. You are burning your own house down just to keep others warm, and you're surprised that you're freezing to death. To reclaim your identity, you must stop being a spectator in your own life and start being the priority. You must realize that selfless is often just another word for invisible. Fourth, you must master the self-preservation protocol. This is a radical shift in how you allocate your cognitive and emotional energy. You must stop viewing self-care as a luxury and start treating it as high-value asset management. You wouldn't expect a high-performance engine to run forever without oil changes, yet you expect your mind to function while being starved of rest and respect. To reclaim your life, you must establish unnegotiable hours. These are time blocks where your only mission is to restore your soul, and the world is strictly barred from entry. This isn't just free time, it's a strategic defense of your sanity. Second, you must practice strategic self-loyalty. This means making a pact with yourself that you will no longer trade your boundaries for a temporary sense of belonging. When you start valuing yourself, you will notice a violent reaction from those who benefited from your lack of boundaries. They will call you selfish or changed. Let them. A strategist knows that their opinion is the cost of your freedom. You have to treat yourself like a priority, because if you aren't full, you have nothing of real value to offer the world anyway. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You can only pour from the overflow. Does this sound familiar? Have you ever noticed that the more you sacrifice yourself for others, the less they seem to appreciate it? That's because people value you exactly as much as you value yourself. Stop being a background character in your own story and start being the priority. Practice the art of radical self-loyalty, because the most important relationship you will ever have is the one happening inside your own skin. Only when you are truly full can you offer anything of real value to the world around you. So, I'm asking you, after everything we've discussed today, whose name are you going to put at the top of your list tomorrow?